Hello everybody, this is Brian here. This is going to be another video on the topic of epilepsy tips. I had a seizure last night that was pretty bad. Hit my head. Anyways, I bit my tongue. I just want to make sure that from the perspective of somebody who's had one of these within the last 24 hours, that if you're in the same boat as I am, there's no iceberg in front of you. Sorry for the tired Titanic reference, but yeah, Leonardo DiCaprio didn't fucking sing me off this one. Anyways, let's get to it. Okay. Number one on here is going to be avoid easily breakable kitchen items and replace them with less dangerous items like a glass cup. If you had a drop attack, you might actually fall on top of that cup, and you don't want to land on top of a broken pile of glass. That's not good. You could get serious wounds from it. This is especially bad if you had a drop attack where you actually dropped the stuff or if it was on like a hard tile floor. Anyways, uh, number two on here is going to be check if you got hurt anywhere, bruises, cuts that you may have missed in the haze of the post-seizure mental fog. Give yourself a good look over, like in the mirror, just to make sure you didn't miss a bad injury, like that might have actually, bled, or you might need to clean up. Just to, I mean, I find that after seizures, there's kind of a lot of numbness and confusion and torpor, mental fog, that kind of stuff. And so you might have missed something um, that'll give you an idea that you actually had a seizure. For me, a lot of times I actually have them while I'm asleep. So once I realize, like, oh shit, I'm actually pretty beat up. It's like those kind of things can help you not miss a really bad fall or grand mal. Number three, get a carpet in your house. If you have at all spent some time on those Facebook groups where, epilepsy support groups, people will upload post accident photos, often post surgical photos. They're pretty horrifying, no criticism at all towards those people, and I hope they feel better. I hope this doesn't come off as rude. But those are kind of, you know, they kind of make me cringe a little bit. But if you don't want to become the latest member of one of those photos, I would really, really recommend. Um, I would really, really recommend avoid falling in a high risk area that may require those surgeries. That's why I recommended carpet, because if you wear like a beanie like this and you hit your head on a carpet, maybe if you wear a hooded sweater, these kind of things. It's not like wearing a helmet or something, but it's kind of like it protects your head a little bit. It'll protect your head and face, maybe even prevent you from breaking bones. It could have been worse. Just because something doesn't prevent your seizures, um, it doesn't mean that it doesn't improve them. They could have been much worse. Anyone ever heard of sudden death epilepsy? Pretty much where you could just not wake up from a seizure once. That's that's a terrifying thought. Anyways, but that's why we're here to avoid those major and well, frankly, just to avoid those major consequences of not paying enough attention to your own health. Epilepsy has a habit of causing nausea and low appetite. This is number four, by the way. So don't eat something that you don't want to just because somebody else is pressuring you to. You know, it can also cause a rising feeling from the bottom of your stomach. Keep an eye out for that because, I mean, obviously, neurologically, your whole body is connected to your brain. So make sure that those fatty and heavy foods don't exacerbate the situation. You know, you don't want to asphyxiate on throw up or something like terrifying like that. Anyways, number five on here is just because seizures are cyclical and follow a pattern for most people doesn't mean that they're forever. Don't give up hope that the 6 days since your last seizure or whatever the gap of your seizure cycle is, Don't give up hope that you're recovering now. I'm not saying have unrealistic expectations, because even though I've gone through periods of 46 days or so between seizures in the past, it didn't necessarily for me mean a new precedent or a foreign frequency. Number six, while I might live with my family, you might live alone or as a single parent. So look out for drowsy, zoned out, and torpid feelings following a drop or grand mal. Use these emotional feelings as a warning sign that you might have missed something. I often sleep, like I said, through my seizures, but wake up to the news. Like one time during my first seizure, I actually was doing the dishes, and then I woke up in an ambulance. So that was a hard turn from before. And things have just continued to change from there. And if your life's at all like mine, then well, just be there for yourself, because things can only get harder if you're not your own best friend. I'm not saying don't have friends, but you know what I mean. Number seven on here is to beware of things hurting worse on day two after everything kind of sets in. After not feeling as much numbness or feeling shaken up, kind of like you're inside a snow globe. After those confused feelings have dissipated somewhat, I think that the pains from either falling or from a possible bite wound during an actual grand mal seizure attack. If you have the habit of biting yourself, which I kind of have the habit of either biting my tongue or my fingers. If you have those habits as I do, um, you know, beware of day two, because I think actually usually worse than day one, because all of those things kind of have more of a clear easel to set in. That they're going to be more evident while you're not as tired. Number eight, don't let the onset of epilepsy make you feel like an outcast, or if you were born with it, don't let people obsessed with societal standards of normality belittle you for something that was never any of our faults in the first place. If you knew somebody, and this is kind of a dark reference, but if you knew somebody, pretend that your best friend had cancer, you wouldn't belittle them, you wouldn't tell them that it was their fault. And just remember, going from there, I love all of you because you're you, and I just want you to love yourself the way you are. Anyways, if you're looking for pick me up, look for the Ernest Tubb version of that aforementioned song. He does a great version of it, which is kind of where I got the phrase from. Anyways, number 9 on this list. Let me just real fast check to make sure I'm not running out of time on my camera. Okay, good. Everything's fine. Number 9 on here is going to be that I just wanted to tell you where I'm coming from personally, and why I think that these tips are apropos to people in the same boat as me, because I had a seizure and woke up way later on, unsure what had happened. So I empathize with anyone who woke up in a hospital after doing something mundane, like I had previously described earlier. That's how I got introduced to this whole scene. And I'm not negating any of the difficulty that may have come upon you from individual circumstances, but I'm just saying, I'm just trying to feel you, feel your pain, resonate, and let you know that you aren't alone. You aren't alone with this whole thing, even if it sometimes feels that way. So I guess in the more serious ends of things, never give up, never kind of have a fatalistic attitude. A good attitude will help you so much in this to recover from a bad seizure faster, and maybe even if you listen to number 10 on this list, the second half mostly, I think that it'll kind of help you feel like you're not alone and that the world hasn't abandoned you, and it'll help you from less of a fatalistic perspective. Um, Number 10 on here is to completely abandon the word disabled. And this is for everybody who has a quote unquote disability. I think that this word sends a bad message. I think it's the equivalence of slurs or those kind of things. I think it belittles a group of people who are different than whoever's using the word and for no reason, and I think it's offensive. Um, I had a seizure. Sorry, I'm reading number 9 again. Um, where am I? In MLB, for example, they changed the disabled list to the injury list. I don't know how people feel about the latter versus the old name, but I still think it's arguably progress. I mean, I'd rather be called injured than disabled, completely unable to do anything. I think people with epilepsy aren't disabled. There's still many possible endeavors that you or loved ones who suffer from this illness could make a new part of this confusing and rapidly changing life that is epilepsy. New hobbies such as collecting things, art. There's so many different branching types of art. Painting, drawing, um, playing a type of music, writing poetry. I think that even just trying music that you hadn't given a chance to previously, that could open up a whole new door in your life. The point is to try one of these things, not necessarily all of them, but the point is to try something to help you feel like things hadn't bottomed out. Remember to always keep trying, even in the face of intractable epilepsy or another intractable or incurable disease. Your future is still full of variety, of potential choices. Even if you've lost some of them or a few of them, regardless of what we may have lost, the things that regardless of anything that we may have lost that we loved as epileptic people, that doesn't mean we lost everything. So I just wanted to say, in spite of the coarseness of this video from my seizure last night, which was a pretty rough one, I just wanted to say good luck to all of you, my friends, and remember to keep an eye out for those out of nowhere seizures, because they really can come out of nowhere and kind of jump you almost in a way. So yeah, I'm going to click off for now. Thank you guys for watching. I love you guys. I'm out.